what they want. They want to see hitters. They want to see trap stars. They want to see robbers. They want to see killers.
Off the record, powered by Amadeus.
They just want to see me and my niggas.
How we building? Let's do this. OTR.
That's what they want. They want to see hitters. They want to see trap stars. They want to see robbers. They want to see killers.
Off
They
the
just
record,
want to
powered by
see me and my
Amadeus.
niggas. How we living? Hey.
Yeah, you guys already know what it is. It's your boys, Warren and Caldrick, back. I hope you guys enjoyed your break. We're talking about mental disruption. Are you okay when you go to jail? Do you develop mental issues? Caldrick, let's jump back into this.
Yeah. Let's get right back into it. So, I'm gonna go ahead and just say it. You know, prison mask. This was a term that was referred in the article that I mentioned before. And basically what they mean by it is poker face, man. It's your poker face. So a prison mask is your prison face. Right. And it's just developing that outer shell, that thick skin that you create for yourself when you go into a prison, so people don't see you as who you are. And it's not like you're trying to lie or deceive people, but I mean, in a bin, you can't trust nobody. Your friend today is your enemy tomorrow, and I've literally experienced that.
Right.
You know, and I know you know all about that too, Warren. So straight up, what I want to touch on now is like the effects. You know, the effects. What are some of the emotional effects and mental disruptions that a person can endure or go through being incarcerated? Like, you know, give us a list, Warren. Give us a list. I know you got a list over there. Give us a list.
I don't have a list per se, but some of the mental effects, mental illnesses that can develop or be exaggerated from somebody's time in jail is, of course, number one, depression. Anxiety can rise up. Some people have pre-existing mental conditions, illnesses, such as they're bipolar or they're schizophrenic. These things can actually, obviously become aggravated when you're placed in those kind of settings. Afterwards, you can develop the post-traumatic disorder. And the list goes on. You know what I'm saying? So many. You spoke to the prison mask and the poker face that one needs. And when you're saying that, I was laughing to myself because I was thinking about one of the first things one of my OGs taught me when I first landed in the East Detention Center. Like the first week, I was like my first week in jail. I was a fresh kid. You know what I'm saying? He told me it's interesting because you said poker face. You gotta have the poker face, but he told me the term is in jail, or at least in Canadian jails, is don't show no face. You know what I'm saying? So when he first said that, I'm from St. Vincent. I was born in Canada. And yes, I have Caribbean, in my blood, but like I don't know the fucking slangs like that. So when this old fucking Jamaican guy comes to me, it's like, yo, don't show no bumbo clown face. When I first jumped in there, one of my OGs happened to be like an old Jamaican guy from Yadder, all these whatever, So this guy's like, yo, Warren G, don't show no bumbo clown face. I'm like, what? Don't show no face? Because I didn't understand what he meant. I was like a fucking 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid. This guy's telling me don't show no face. What the hell is don't show no face to me? So he sat me down. He's like, yo, listen, there's going to be times in here where you're going to want to fucking cry. Don't show no face. There's going to be times in here when people spit in your face and disrespect you and do it. You got to do what you got to do, but don't show no face. There's going to be times when people are going to act like they're your friend and they're really your enemy, and you find out, don't show no face. That's the exact same thing you're talking about. It's that prison mask that you got to develop, that you got to, your skin has to thicken. You got to basically play the part and detach yourself emotionally.
Yeah. You basically got to become numb to yourself in a way, to your emotions, to what makes you. And I mean, just imagine that. Like, I mean, I know, some people might be like, yo, but it's the bin. What do you expect? That's what you gotta be. But at the same time, it's easier said than done, because take yourself, and sit in your living room or sit on your bed and say that I'm gonna numb my emotions to everything for the next week. And I guarantee you, there might be some people out there that can pull it off, right? And I would say being able to pull it off, knowing that it's not something that you have to do to survive, right? Being incarcerated in most cases, it's something that you do have to do to survive. And when we say survive, it's from little to huge. Like that can help you not get into a physical altercation with somebody within there that could result in serious injury. But that can also not allow you to be exploited. So it can be big, it can be small. You get what I'm saying? So surviving jail just means waking up each day and getting through it. And it could also mean actually surviving, coming out of the bin in one piece.
So let me ask you a question though, Calder. So surviving jail while you're in jail, how does that look? I know you did some time, so like coping while you're in there, and you know what I'm saying? Like how does that look? What are some things you can do to survive that situation, to cope in that situation?
Well, one of the biggest things is that mask. The don't show no face, like your OG told you. That's like, to me, like that's the biggest thing right there, right? And the second thing for me, which was a lesson learned, is that like I said, you don't really have any friends in the bin unless you're literally in there on the same range with someone that you're literally like brethren. When your bro guys on road, you don't have any friends. So don't expect to go to jail and make a friend. You get what I'm saying? You can get acquainted with somebody. You can get to a certain level with somebody, but you can't go on thinking and considering that this person is your real true friend.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? That's your jail brethren. That's your jail boy, right? And that's what it is. So that's one thing. Another thing is like, for sure, definitely keeping your shit private.
Yeah.
Keeping your shit private, for real, and be careful who you side with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And allow the opportunity for as minimal entertainment as possible, because dudes in jail, we're bored. We're literally fucking bored. We can do little things here and there to keep ourselves entertained and whatnot, but we are bored and we're looking for some sort of new entertainment, right? And people can lead you astray. I've seen people get set up. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of effed up that you have to be like that, right? And those were some of the things that got me by. And that's what that looked like for me, surviving jail, and literally just trying to, if not coming out of there a better person than you were going in, trying to at least coming out of there the same person that you were when you went in. Trying to keep some of yourself intact, right? Because a lot, like some of that shit can get stripped away from you, and like you said, that can get stripped away from you, and you can lose those things and probably never get them back. And I've lost some things doing some time in the bin, for sure, right? But to be honest, I would say overall, like, my personality, I'm an adaptive person, right? It's not hard. I came from nothing, right? So for me, it's easy to adapt to my atmosphere, to my environment, things like that, because I just kind of make my situation work for me. Because what else am I going to do? Am I going to lay face down in the dirt? It doesn't make any sense. I still got to live. I still got to make it to the next day, right? So I'm very good at adapting to my surroundings and to my environment. And in addition to that, I don't have an addictive personality. Okay. So with the non-addictive personality, it allows me to let go of habits a little bit easier than most. Right. So if I go into the bin and then I have to adapt to that living situation, well, with my ability to adapt easily to things, I can kind of do that in a easier way. All right. And then coming out, and that, like, so for that having an effect on me, like a long-term effect, I can kind of, drop some of those habits fairly quicker than most. Like, for instance, like in the shower is like the weirdest thing, right? Because on in certain, like, regular jails, not pen time, but regular, what do you call them? Provincial jails, right? Like yeah, the showers are like, it's like this little tiny thing and the little pipe there, and then you got to like press it and hold it, or it stops after a certain while, but you got to get right up underneath that. right? So the first couple times when I went in and then came out and I took a shower and I'm in my tub, like at home, taking a shower, and I'm like, this shower area doesn't need to be so big. Like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is wasted space. You don't need all this space, because you can take a good shower in half the amount of space. And I found myself right up under that shower, So it took a while. It took not a while, but it took some adjusting to get back to that normal part of life of what a real size shower would look like. So that's just a small example of what I'm talking about.
In my experience, though, like for you, like I can understand and I can see like how you're a strong individual and you can adapt to most situations thrown at you. But when I did that, those years way back, I'm saying way back, like it wasn't 3 years ago. When I did that experience, a lot of the people that I see, they weren't adapting to it in the most healthiest way. Like for you got through it and you pushed through it, and it sounds like you were a little institutionalized when you came home. But for a lot of other guys, they couldn't cope in a healthy way. And what I witnessed, a lot of people were doing, they fell into drugs hardcore. You feel me? And people use drugs and brews, which are like homemade alcohol. They use that to cope with whatever was going on in their head, or whatever was going on in their lives, or whatever was going on range. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and you got to remember, jail's not a place where you can just pick up a fucking dime of weed, like from your drug dealer, just like that. You feel what I'm saying? Or you can't just go to a fucking weed shop, pick it up. The way you smoke weed is it's either getting brought in from a guard, or someone's bringing it up their ass. They're hooping it. You feel what I'm saying? Matter of fact, if you're smoking weed in jail, as everybody knows, you're probably smoking something that's been up somebody's ass at one point in time.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? But the thing is, nobody cares about that, because what they're dealing with is so much more fucking extreme that they don't care that they're literally smoking shit. They just want to get high. They just want to get through it. You feel what I'm saying? And I think that's something that we need to touch upon, because we need to develop healthy coping mechanisms that push us past our traumas and doesn't bring that shit with us on road. You feel what I'm saying?
Right. And it's kind of like a really delicate area, because again, it's like it's to each individual. You know what I mean? To each individual, because like you said, like you mentioned, like brew and drugs and stuff like that, and that's the thing with me on road. Like I'm such a like a picky person when it comes to like what I consume, right? That there's no way you can get me to eat something. Like if there was something in the bin that I did not eat at all, didn't even know what the fuck it was, I wasn't on some fuck, I'm just gonna throw it down anyways because I'm hungry. No, I'll starve. There's no way you can get me to do that. So even when it came to brew, punch, when I seen what their peanut butter, the Snickers, the banana, I'm like, okay, it sounds good, but it doesn't look good. And I'm not drinking that shit.
That's punch.
But
that's
punch,
the peanuts and the...
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like...
What I'm saying is the fucking... The shit that they make the brew in the toilet.
Yeah, they make the brew in the toilet. They make the brew in the toilet.
Nasty ass bread, and I don't know what the fuck they put in. They drink it and they sell it, and I can't fucking believe it. But it gets people through it.
But
you know what I'm saying?
Brew is just one aspect. But I'm saying, like, I can't even fuck with punch, much less. You know what I mean? I can't even fuck with that, much less. You put all these things in the bag, you tie it up in the bag, and you roll it around and roll it around and roll it around till it turns into this mushy, poor shit. Nigga, get that the fuck away from me. I'm not congesting that shit. No, it's not happening. We're not doing that. Right? So don't even come to me with punch. Right?
Brother, it's not the rolling around that used to get me. What used to get me, I used to think about fucking Scary Movie and the guy with the little hand and shit, putting it in the cake and massaging the food. I used to feel like, yo, how are you guys eating or drinking something that you guys like literally made in your cell, and I can just picture your hand all in it and shit.
Yeah, but like I said, and that's what I'm saying with the coping mechanisms.
Right.
It's to each his own, and each person, because some people aren't that strong mentally, some people aren't that strong physically, and some people, they don't, because again, even if I say like, okay, going into making punch, like it's more like some ranges make it a mandatory contribution, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm on the weaker side of the inmates, and I got a peanut butter, I got a Snickers or a banana, and I plan to eat that, right? I got to give it up for my punch. So now I don't have nothing to eat, so I might as well have some of the punch. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's because I need something in my system.
Yo,
right,
man,
but
you in a hard fucking jail, man.
Some ranges are different.
Sure, for sure.
Some ranges are different. But
that told me I gotta contribute my canteen to his punch, bro.
Yo, you ever did time in the Don? You ever did time in the Don?
I did time in the Don. The only place I haven't done time was fucking Maplehurst. I've been to Lindsay, fucking the East, the West, the Don, and the South. I haven't been to the new South. But yeah, bro.
But so it's a situation like that. You know what I mean? And then you sort of feel like you kind of like need to situate yourself in that place. So if you have the punch, you're friends with these guys because they gave you some of the punch and whatever, and then you start to like sort of feel more comfortable because this is around you. So you then start to say to yourself, you know what? I gotta smoke the ass shit. I gotta take this drug. I gotta drink the brew and drink the punch to feel welcome. You know what I mean? Or to be accepted, right?
My experience wasn't so much the punch that did that. It was the weed. You know what I'm saying? Like
the weed, yeah.
The person with the weed had the power. If you came in, the mans are asking, yo, do you have any weed on you? Have any piff? You have no piff? You know what I'm saying? Go, that was the power hierarchy, like how you're explaining for the cells and the 3 to the cell kind of shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the man
was
the god in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. And that was like, and that depend on the institution too as well. You know what I mean? And the ranges and stuff that you were in, because some jails it was easier to get things in. Like some jails literally had runners, had buckets that were on the outside and would get booked for a little misdemeanor to bring in a package. You get what I'm saying?
Say less, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, that's just, we know that that's how the system runs, and that's how things go in and out, the guards too and shit like that and whatever. But getting back to like that whole mental piece, that whole mental aspect, so some of these things you either look at it as you have to become this type of a person and do these things to get by, to get through it. And it's not like it's hard. The convincing is there, because you have other inmates and stuff like that are saying, this helped me, smoke this, because when I smoked it helped me get by the day. It was easier. It was, or drink this or whatever. And, you have that influence, right? So it becomes harder. And then I also think about, how is it these mental issues can occur going into the bin and having to kind of live that kind of life. But how is it for someone who already has, who already is suffering from some form of mental health going in? You know what I mean? Like, imagine the effects of that.
Right. No, for sure.
Right. For sure. So this is definitely something huge that can't be condensed into, one.
Hold on. Before we go though, because I kind of feel like what we need to touch on is like the positive ways to cope while you're in there and your mental gets disrupted. What are some of the positive things that you did in there to cope?
Some of the positive things was not is not alienating myself and isolating myself away from as much exposure as I can get from the outside world.
Okay.
Because a lot of people do that. They're like, oh, I'm doing my time. I don't want to know what's going on road. I don't want to. But for me, that wasn't the case. For me, that was a good coping mechanism, because I kept saying to myself, I'm gonna come out. You know what I mean? I'm gonna come out. So it's like I want to know what's going on. I want to know who's where now and what the kids are doing and who did what. Like, and that helped, to think about these things and to know about these things. And I know, like I said, to each his own. For me, that helped because I knew I was coming out, because I knew, okay, you know what, I got 3 months, 6 months. But for someone who's got like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, like, I can understand you don't want to know what's going on the outside, because you ain't coming out no time soon.
I had the complete opposite effect, bro. I didn't want
Right.
to know what's going
Right.
on. Bro. Sunny
So-
day, I was depressed. Rainy
Right.
day, I was happy because I know nobody was doing shit just like me. You feel what I'm saying?
Right, and that's truth, because even when they would take us to like our court dates, and we're in the paddy wagon and outside is blessed, the sun is shining, you can see through the little holes in the paddy wagon, the sun is shining, you see cars on the road, you hear a car drive by beating some tune, and people are outside doing their thing. It's depressing. And when it's raining and it's gloomy outside, I'm like, yeah, I'm okay, because everybody else is gloomy too. Like, you know what I mean? But for my coping mechanism, that worked for me because I was doing short time. You know what I mean? For someone doing long time, it could be different. Another thing was, like I said, trying to plan for when I get out, what I can do different, what I can do better, trying to make sure that I don't come back in, because I'm going to get another opportunity, or I'll be in another situation where I'm faced to make a choice. So getting my mind right as to when I come out, how do I set preventative measures for myself to not come back in? So having a plan and creating a plan. So a lot of my coping mechanisms, because I did short time, was more of like planning for the future and staying tuned with family and friends and things like that. And then another form of coping mechanism for me was accepting where I was, right? And, yes, adapting to the norms and the lifestyle of what was happening within there, but also creating my space in that atmosphere, creating my space in that environment, right? So when I was doing time, like I said, you know what, like there was no lootie board on the range, so I made a lootie board. You know what I mean? I ordered checkers, grabbed the sheet, did the drawings, whatever, flipped that up, got some dice from another game, and I made a lootie board. There's something that I like to play. A couple other mans in there would have liked to play too, right? And I contributed something, and then it put another person, it put responsibility on another person who wanted to contribute. And then another thing that we did is we sort of developed a way to kind of help and take care of each other. So, when I first came onto the Sentence Side Range, and I first came on, when I went on the other unit, because I had to pass through one unit to the next. And when I got onto the actual real unit now, when I got on that unit, a couple of the men that were there, they gave me things, right? So as I was going down to my room, and I got into my room, a man came up to my door and he's like, hey, you know what? Here's an extra shirt. Another man came up, he's like, here's 2 extra boxers, and I kind of asked, like, I was like, thank you and stuff, whatever. And I asked them, like, like, why did you do that? And they're just like, yo, come on, like, we all got to do whatever. And we know that you're coming from the pods, and when you're coming from the pods, you ain't get shit up there. You ain't get nothing.
Bro, we had 2 different experiences.
Yeah. Sentence Side
giving me shit when I first got
right. So that
it.
That was Sentence Side, and not everybody participated in that. Not everybody was feeling that kind of vibe. But for me, right, that helped me. So I then I echoed that. So then I did that, and I what I did is I took it a step further, and I imagined it was me walking in. So some of the things that I put aside that I would give to somebody coming on new to the range is like something that I would like to get to, right? And that also helped, right? Because within certain people that I decided to be cool with on the range and be friends with or whatever, were people that were trying to promote more a positive living space for each other. You get what I'm saying? And then to me, those were some of the things that helped for real. And just, yeah, just that was it, man. Just finding good ways to pass the time, man. And just teaching and learning and just talking about different things. Like if I seen there was a conversation happening about this negative thing that was going on. Like a man was talking about, oh, this man, did this and he should have did this better. If he did, he wouldn't have got caught. This, that, whatever. I would listen and whatever and wait for an opportunity to jump in and change the subject to a next thing. Like if a man said, oh, he got caught because, he tried to run and jump off this thing and he should have known he couldn't make it and this and that, whatever. I would jump in and be like, fam, let me tell you. Because back when that same shit would have happened to me, because I would have been running like when I was back in high school and I played football, you know what I mean? And I would have made that same mistake and then jump into football, and the next man would be like, yo, trust me, I'm telling you, because back in the day when I was in school, I used to be ill in football and then we switched the conversation. You get what I'm saying? And just try to promote things like that amongst a group of people that, I did my time with. So that's how I dealt with my time. And that's how I helped my mental state and kept some of me intact. But not every institution, not every situation, you can get the opportunities to do that.
Yeah, so I was about to say, because like my experience was completely different from any of that. Like, for example, like you were saying, one of your coping mechanisms was to reach out on road and to talk to people. For me, I didn't want to know anything was going on road, and the more I was on the phone, I felt the more anxious I got, the more depressed I got. Even the more angrier I got, you know what I'm saying? So I tried to avoid the phone, even though I needed it. It was a lifeline, and I didn't want to become a phone bug. Another thing that I used to cope was like exercising. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people were smoking weed. A lot of people were drinking the brews. A lot of people were taking pills and shit.
You were working on your physique.
So I wasn't even really working on my physique. I was just working out because the pain kind of numbed the pain. You feel what I'm saying? The pain of working out numbed the pain of fucking not being able to fucking go to the grocery store on Saturday. You feel what I'm saying?
So what are some other coping mechanisms from you? Because you did hard time, I did soft time. Well, time is time, but you know what I mean? In relation.
All time is time. You know what I'm saying? Another fucking coping mechanism, a big coping mechanism for me and for others that I've seen is reading. Reading and writing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people have never picked up a book on road, but when they go to jail, they read the entire fucking library. And that's because it serves as an escape from your mental anguish. You feel what I'm saying? Some people will write to fucking get that shit off their chest, get that shit off their mind. You know what I'm saying? Though you see man's fucking write poetry, man's will fucking write raps. Me, I wrote a fucking book, an entire fucking book. Second. Like, you know what I'm saying?
The first time, other than like grade school where I'd read like the Magic School Bus and the Bailey School Kids and shit like that, the first time I actually read like a novel was in the Dawn and read the entire book. First ever time. For real. And
it's a lot of man stories.
Since I came out, I've been trying to find that book and can't find it for the life of me. But the day I find it, I'm gonna put that shit in a frame. So yeah, that is real. That is real. What else? Anything else? Drop one or two more, and then.
Let's see. So exercising was a big one. Reading was a big one.
Reading, writing.
As you said, like that Ludi board thing, right? Playing games while you're in jail, it distracts you. So Ludi was a big one, but for me it was chess and bidwiz. You know what I'm saying? So there's always a chess tournament going on, and there's always a bidwiz tournament going on, and that would fucking take your mind off shit. And just little things like that. And I'm probably gonna get fucking I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying this, but fuck, I'm gonna say it anyways because it's OTR. You already know what it is. Flirting with the guards, flirting with the fucking
Yo, fam, come on. That's easy. I know you're not supposed to crack to the guards, but I feel like that, you don't crack to the guards for sure. But when you're doing sentence, you got to finesse these guys a little bit because they also contribute to how well or how terrible your time is.
100%.
You get what I'm saying? So you got to finesse them a little bit. Like, for real, man. You got to finesse them. Know what you're doing though.
It wasn't so much for the finessing. You see a girl that fuck you would have seen at Scarborough Town and any other day, but she just happens to be working as a guard, and you happen to be an inmate. Like fuck, you do what you do. You know what I'm saying? Because it's you forget your surroundings and you see the person and you just want
to connect.
Just connect. Exactly.
Yeah. Connect.
But this topic can go on for days.
It can go on. It can go on. And I try my best to stick to more of the positives, because even though, I did a lot of short time and this and that, I did like a lot of short times. Like I went to the Hearst 4 times, the Don 3 times, you know what I mean? And not all experiences were great. Like I had some experiences that were terrible, where I got into I got attacked 3 times from 3 different people in one day. You know what I mean? So we're going to wrap it up though. And, like you said, this can go on and on and on.
Or OT, I already know.
To the listeners, again, thank you for the love and support with season 1. 100, 1,000 times that with season 2. Keep the comments and everything coming in.
Right in the comments. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you want.
Yeah. Especially this particular topic. I know there's so much that other people have experienced and so much different coping mechanisms that people can add to the list and things like that. And I want to encourage that. Let's do that. Why don't we create a list? Why don't we create something that we could actually put out there, for people that are facing a situation like that, or know that they're going into a situation like that, and maybe these things can help them. So I encourage the listeners or anybody else that have anything to add, throw some suggestions, some advice on that list, and let us know what's up. OTR, we're out.
You're listening to OTR, Voices from the Inside Out. Hit us up on Instagram. At Amadeus TO. So at Amadeus, AMADEUSZTO. Or you can email us at otr@amadeus.ca. Okay. It's time to get into our featured artist and song of the week. This week, we got some fire for you as always. Check this one out. It has a dope message. OTR, Voices from the Inside Out.
Hey, you're listening to Off the Record, powered by Amadeus. This is Vita Connect, and I hope you enjoy my new track coming out on all streaming platforms, Purpose.
My purpose been calling me, it's calling me. My passion been calling me, it's calling me. My mama been calling me, she's calling me. I need to answer. My purpose been calling me, it's calling me. My passion been calling me, it's calling me. The rapping been calling me, it's calling me. I need to answer. My purpose been calling me, it's calling me. My passion been calling me, it's calling me. My mama been calling me, she's calling me. I need to answer. My purpose been calling me, it's calling me. My all has been calling me, it's calling me. My heart has been calling me, it's calling me. I need to answer. My mama heart made out of gold, so I learned to give. Started off good in mind till I learned to live. My bros taught the hustle, I could never quit. Black queen loyalty, I could never switch. Raised on the Jane Strip, I could never snitch. Never understood my own till I got my crib. Black collar, white collar, blue collar, the biz. They gon' act like they don't know, but they know what it is. And you yourself are still an addict if you crave this shit. Don't ever tell me that you love me in a grave and ditch. Talking, walking different paths, that's just...
Merch alert. You already know what it is, man. We're doing a merch drop. Limited edition, change over chains, hoodies, designed by Exclusivity and Trent Out Loud. I'm telling you, these sweaters are dope. I already got mine. Make sure you get yours. 100% of the proceeds goes to Amadeus, their services. It helps to man them out. So, do your part. Get your sweaters now while supplies last.
Sweaters can be found on amadeus.ca.
I need to answer. Just know the hope shit is fine with the hopelessness. Never gonna stop till I make what Oprah gets. Make the right place, cause nowadays they moving left. And putting in the work because the point is to progress. A connect like I know you've never ever met. And I'm the one to call just in case you wanna bet. Throw towels at a girl just in case you wanna sweat, please. And I'm the one to get the check, talk what I